Thank you so much, guys, for sitting down with me. So when I'm watching this movie, as a horror fan, a lot of films are kind of coming to mind, like It's Alive, Aliens, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I mean, I can go on, Scream. So there's how you balance those little hat tips. It feels like they're just hat tips, not like you're ripping them off. And so I wonder like what the balance is there for you as filmmakers to kind of insert all those little nuggets because it seems like you're celebrating the genre very well, and as somebody who really appreciates it, I enjoy that.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Well, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that in the writing process, there's a lot more
direct references.
References, if not outright theft. And then we've written so many drafts of it. I think we wrote somewhere in the 30s number of drafts, and at every iteration, it's a darling that one of us goes, I think we should take out this line that is stolen from Jurassic Park. And someone goes, no, we have to keep it. And by the end of it, it's just, I think we did a relatively good job of making it just mostly original stuff, but there are still like fun. Like I'm thrilled that those references that you're catching them, and so because it's fun as an audience member to see those things, but also hopefully it's not too. The risk is that it's too distracting, and that you're instead of watching the movie that you're watching a movie and going like, oh yeah, that other movie did this a lot better. So we tried to take out all the references to the movies that we thought were way better than ours.
Yeah, and then also I think it's like at some point you hope that you're writing movie lines that other people would reference, not just if you're living fully in the past, then it's like what's the exciting new thing that your movie's bringing to it, and
right.
we were trying to make moments that hopefully people like enough that it's like we want to put that line in our movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun for me. Well, I'm not going to spoil like what the ending is, but it's fun to kind of find out what the source of it all is, and that was exciting.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's funny that moment. I'm actually thrilled that you liked it, because a lot of it when we were writing it, we were like, well, we don't want it to be like a mystery movie about like what the origin of it was, but we still wanted it to be satisfying when you do end up finding out what it is. I'm just rambling at this moment.
No, that's true, and also I think that specifically that reveal, and hopefully someone that watches this interview will have seen the movie.
They'll know what we're talking about.
But it was a late
stage edition.
It was a late stage edition that we realized we needed this one thing, and let me just say, there's a statue involved, and that me and Stephen bought that. We paid
with our own money. We were like, because it was at the last minute, and we were like, there wasn't money in the budget for it, and we were like, we need it. We will pay for this.
We called Scott, who wrote the movie with us, but he was in LA, and but he also did a lot of the concept art for the movie, and we were like, we need you to draw us a statue now.
We're sending references.
And so he did. He designed the statue.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did, yeah. That's right.
I opted for that to be like a wrap gift, but somebody was like, it's too expensive.
It was.
Okay.
It was $1,000.
Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Ow. Okay, I get it.
We'll make little ones when it becomes a huge hit.
Yeah. Merch. That's our merch.
It's our merch.
Oh, yeah.
I can. What are those little things called? Those
USB drives?
No.
What?
Okay, hold on for 1 second.
Tchotchkes.
Yeah, what are those toys called? The Funko.
Yeah,
We need one of those.
USB drives.
Yeah.
Yes, Mary, exactly.
USB drives.
I guess kind of speaking to that, like how long did it kind of take to just design the creature itself?
Well, it started out as a piece of concept art, and then when we
Oh, so you're taking full credit, huh?
Whoa.
drawn by me, made by me. Well, the idea for the alien came when we first started writing the scripts. Like really early on, we wanted something that was going to be cost effective. So something that attached to an actor who did most of the work, like definitely helped out with that. And then we drew concept art, and then when we made the proof of concept, we needed somebody to actually make it, and we were put in touch with a creature designer named Chris Hansen.
He had done a lot of the background aliens on like Men in Black and some other really cool big movies, but he was like, I don't like the.
He got fed up with the biz.
Yeah, so he moved back to Utah where he just makes really high quality monsters for low budget horror movies, and we were like, this is our guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in it for the love of the game.
Yeah, and as we always say, if you just close your eyes and picture a guy who designs movie monsters in Utah, you are picturing
That's
the exact
him.
right guy.
Change gears a little bit for the actors. Like when I'm watching it, I feel like there's a lot of history there for your characters. Like how like when we're watching it, we can see like the drawing that's on the wall and that sort of thing. But like is it important for you, like when you're reading the script, that you add a backstory to your character, that you feel like you need to go all the way, like how much that history is there?
Yeah.
We Benji already spoiled it.
I said it quietly.
We heard you. Funny enough, like when we created our character background stories, Mary and I discovered that we chose the same middle name for both of our characters, which is Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
That's how we wanted it.
Shout out.
Yeah.
It's definitely a part of it. I created like a whole Pinterest board for like Sarah Steinberg Pinterest.
Yeah.
It was very high schooly.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most fun parts is
like creating backstory.
Yeah.
Like, you get to create like music playlists to like
Mhm.
get you
Oh,
there
yes.
before,
Yes.
and like visual stuff like Pinterest boards and
Mhm.
writing
What about
journal
design in
entries
the
and stuff.
room or anything like that? Designing your rooms?
I haven't designed my own room. That's actually a good one.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
I'll try that.
interesting.
Yeah. For my next high school.
Yeah.
Whoa! Thank you.
Yes.
Acting class. We also had our rooms on set were like so specific and
Yeah.
perfectly high school-esque too. That
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is great. This
Mhm.
is easy.
And there's a lot of great death scenes in this film, and most of them happen in the police station.
Ah.
And so, do y'all have a favorite death scene? Not from the movie,
Oh.
but just in general.
Oh,
That's
like
okay.
in cinema.
Yes. It doesn't have to be horror either.
Ah.
I mean, I know that you mentioned this earlier, but I always think of Drew Barrymore
Oh,
in
yeah.
Scream.
Oh yeah.
That's
That affected me on a very deep
Me too.
level.
Yeah.
Does
I'm
it-
gonna steal a good one. The lawyer getting chomped in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh.
Wait, does it have to be
Yeah.
horror? Was that part of
No,
it?
Yeah, it can be anything.
Die Hard, the end of Die Hard.
Ooh.
Great. Hans Gruber getting
Spoiler.
tossed out the window.
Big spoiler.
Big spoiler, but you gotta have seen it.
You gotta have seen it.
I don't think the
I've
bad
seen
guy
it.
dies at the end of Die Hard.
Did you guys know it's actually a Christmas movie?
Oh my god.
Actually, the screenwriters disagreed with that.
Well, they're wrong.
They are wrong.
See, my mind goes to like the Notebook.
Shut up.
Literally, I was like Titanic and the Notebook are all
No,
I can
honestly,
think of.
my mind went to Marvel movies.
Oh.
You can cut it. Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Except there are never real deaths in Marvel.
There's never
movies.
real deaths in Marvel, so I don't know. Does it count? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Is it from Infinity War?
It is.
You're
I
talking
think
about
it's
Spider-Man.
very
I know
exciting.
which one.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
that one.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
feel so good.
Don't bring it up. PTSD right now. It's for real.
Never saw it.
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
Okay.
50% on Rotten
Failing. Run.
The end.
What about the stunts of the film itself? Like when we were watching those great death scenes, like kind of being in that environment and what it looks like for you, because it's thrilling for the audience. But I wonder if you like back out a little bit, like how ridiculous it can maybe look for you.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh
look
yeah.
so
People backed
stupid
up.
doing it.
So stupid.
So dumb.
I think the funniest thing for us, or me in particular, was like us crawling on the floor and like the policemen like rolling across
That
the
was
whole
fun.
time,
Mhm.
and just like being rocket launched.
That was
People
really fun.
flipping over
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
I'll also just say
Mhm.
that by the end of the movie, like, Mary and Gabby are doing like full on like, actual action scenes, and it's really cool. But we started this by making a proof of concept short like 3 years before we made the rest of it. And just as evidence of the journey that
I
they
knew- I-
took, we just had to do something where they just were lying on the ground and like 10 feet away from them, we were gonna drop safety glass and just break it.
I was really
And
hoping you were
about
going to tell
we
us
were
the
about to
story.
say action, and Gabby was like, we were like, everyone ready? And Gabby was like, I have something to say. I'm scared. And then we did it anyway.
And we were like, shut
up!
Shut
But
up!
then throughout the journey, I got thrown into a wall voluntarily.
Yeah, by the end, like we were like, we don't need you to throw yourself into the wall.
He's
We
like,
had a
"No,
stunt
I
person.
wanna
She
do
was
it."
like, give me the wall. It was cool to watch her. Come on, action stunt, both of them.
Yeah, stunts were like very, very
favorite
fun.
part, yeah.
I just remember towards the end that our stunt coordinator, Eddie,
Eddie.
Action Eddie? Well,
Action Eddie.
Officially Action.
officially Action Eddie, trademark. But he would just, in everything, he's like, you gotta add more powder to it.
Yeah.
So that the impact, so that it looked really cool.
Yeah,
So-
yes.
but then I just end up with just like powder, just like dust in
Yeah.
your face.
Everywhere.
He had studied at the altar of Jackie Chan, so he was like, Jackie always wants to add more powder. And so then powder became, and he believed that anything could be powdery. He was like, if someone breaks into a table, put some Cheetos on the table. Cheetos are powder. Anything. And you know what?
He was
That's
right.
Yeah.
absolutely right.
We're converts.
Reach for the stars. Anything can be played.
It's funny also because the actors love doing the stunts, and for us, we hated doing the stunts because even though it was cool, it eats up so much time, and so you're like sitting there watching them like double check the ropes, and you're like, the ropes are fine, they're fine, just throw them.
The actor
across
safety
the
is
room."
secondary.
But yeah, there were.
We're kidding.
They're kidding.
Safety second, making our day first. That was
The funniest scene to me, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but it involves y'all two being in the car and then somebody following you when you go to the stop sign.
Oh.
And so that causes me to wonder like how y'all went about balancing the humor and the horror in the film, and how important that was for you guys, kind of directing that and writing that, and then y'all kind of being in that space to make sure that y'all nail it.
Do you guys want to talk about it first?
No.
You clearly want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
I don't have anything to say.
Technically, that was more of a director.
Well,
writer.
I'll start the conversation. I'll set the table.
See, yes.
Set the table, we'll pull up chairs. Dig right in.
And you're gonna eat what I
I'm
end up
gonna eat
serving.
it.
You're gonna eat it.
You're
gonna eat it.
All of
I've
it.
spent all day in the kitchen. Well, I think the thing that we talk about this all the time, but for Benji, Scott, and myself, when we're making horror comedy, we really strive to make the horror parts scary and the funny parts funny, and it's a delicate dance.
Which sounds
And-
obvious, but that's only to say
Yeah.
that we don't want the horror parts to be the jokes, or we don't want to take the scariness away by being too funny in the wrong time.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't want the humor to be derived from how poorly you've done the horror.
Yeah.
You know, or how
Exactly.
goofily you've
You don't
done
have
the
to be
horror.
spoof before. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that scene, we're actually dealing with there is a threat that we show the audience that is ever present without the girls being aware of it, and it's a really important moment. I mean, I think it is scary, and
It's an ingredient that we can recognize from horror films, but you're kind of subverting their expectations.
exactly.
Yeah,
And,
in a way.
and it also
What you said.
and then the third part on top of it that I think is the final spice of our three spice
Dinner?
making dinner is the emotion of it, where our actors are actually they're talking about going back to help people. What like they're actually dealing with the like morality of it, and what we really worked hard to make sure that the characters were people who you loved. And there's a horrific scene that comes before it, and they kind of like run away. And we were like, we should make sure that they're not terrible people. So their discussion is that.
I'll also say it was a really fun scene to shoot because it was probably the most stressful day of our entire production. But Mary and Gabby were in a car, and they were mic'd the whole time because we had to be able to talk to them, and so we got to listen to their conversation.
Yeah,
the
it
whole
was
time,
very funny
and it was a
conversation.
joy. It was like we were little spies.
What was it?
I'm trying to backtrack.
That was when you were talking about
First
Jared
hearing
smoking weed with Don Glover.
Yes!
That was the time. That was the moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you guys have something now that you're at the
Has the table been set?
Do you-
I'll pull up the
and
chair.
who wants a portion? Who wants?
I'd love a ration of. What was the question?
He's still hungry.
Horror and comedy. I think, I think it's like, as actors, you kind of, well, for myself, you don't approach them any differently as you would anything. It's just like, what are these characters? It's like the center of their experience.
Right.
Like, what is this person going through in this moment? Because I think and the way they directed it too, it's like you're not trying to play up. You're not like going for a laugh. You're not. It's not. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I'm like throwing a compliment back to them. Like the writing was so good, and it was pretty simple. Like it worked on its own.
Yeah.
So breaking it down and figuring out like puzzle pieces is pretty damn easy.
Yeah.
Well, just to throw it back. Seriously, I was just gonna say this before you even said that, but just like like they understood so innately that the comedy was going to come from them being real and them playing it straight. It's like that seems a great example where like they were never milking jokes. Like they understood so much what that the funniness was gonna. And this was when we wrote the script. I actually think the hardest thing for like people, executives, whoever, to understand why it was going to be funny, because a lot of their dialogue is actually just earnest and like they're not aware they're in a movie, which is like something that we kind of are not exactly huge fans of, like that sort of meta thing. We're like it's going to be so much more fun if they just are earnest and relatable and play it straight, and they really just got that, and that made it, of course, they're so funny in a movie for that exact reason. So you're great.
You're great.
No one wants this compliment. We keep
Yeah, we
throw in the compliment.
Take it.
Like a
And guys, if you
match.
eat all your salad, you can have dessert.
And as a final question, usually when we focus on horror films, I always like to get a sense of like what kind of films you guys like in that genre. So if there's like a hidden gem of horror, or maybe something that I haven't perhaps seen in a long time or haven't seen, is there anything that you would recommend from the genre?
Oh well.
Okay, not as an inspiration. You're just saying it's something that
Yeah,
we
just
like.
like something that you personally like.
I'm going to steal another one that I think maybe you would also say,
Yeah.
but I really like Night of the Creeps.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Scream Factory's about to re-release that, so I'm excited to watch that again.
Oh, so you have seen it, so I didn't.
I
didn't
have
see
seen
it.
it,
blow
but
his mind.
it's been a while.
Oh my god.
I know. I need to.
I feel like our bona fides are on the line.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
I definitely
Should we
don't have
talk?
one, so.
I think I know Mary's.
Well, I can say
she saw it 2 days ago and she loves it.
Oh, I will talk about that. But I mean, not only Edgar Wright. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we
yeah.
all
Yeah.
all big Wright heads over here.
We live the right path.
The right path.
Oh my god. It hurts.
Ew. W-R-I-G.
Kind of comes through in the editing and the.
Yeah. We
It's
definitely
very
drew some inspiration from that.
Yeah, to shout out new film Little Monsters that was here. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. It was,
Can't shut up about
I know.
it.
I keep bringing it up.
What's the Peter Jackson early
Bad
movie?
Taste?
Dead
No.
Alive?
Oh, Dead Alive.
Dead
That's
Alive.
the one.
Okay, that's the blender moment, that had to
Yeah.
have been a Dead Alive reference.
There's a
Right.
I actually hadn't seen Dead Alive when we
Neither
started
had I,
writing it,
yeah.
and it was
Oh.
I was like, what is this wonderful movie? And it was actually brilliant. And I don't know if we actually were directly referencing it, but it was definitely. I mean, that movie definitely. We were like, oh, so you can do a lot of blood and it's okay.
Yeah.
I think Mrs. Doubtfire.
100%.
There's that scene where she has the mask on, that white mask. It's so
Yeah.
scary. No, don't even do that. Don't even do that.
Chills.